Right on. Well, we are live. Welcome to Meet the Plate of Possibilities. And my guest this morning, it's morning day by you, Baba?
Yeah, it's 7 in the morning.
7 in the morning. Good morning to Baba and everybody. Good morning
Good
and
morning.
good evening. Yeah, it's close to 4 o'clock. So, good evening. So, firstly, for me, this is the first time that I'm like speaking to Baba one on one. Say we were always in JT's Friday Night Live. And first things first, I wanted to know, and this is the first question, Baba, why do they call you Baba and not Robert? What is the
Oh,
meaning behind Baba?
it's kind of a funny story. When my daughter was little, like really tiny, she's first starting to learn how to talk.
Mm-hmm.
She would call my dad, but me and my dad have the same name. So,
Okay.
but he always went by Bob, so she always used to hear Nana call him Bob all the time, and so she go
Mm.
bub 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 like this. So all of a sudden the
Okay.
Bubba thing came out, and then he had a hauling and mini excavating business, and for
Mm-hmm.
some reason the name Bubba kind of stuck, and it was on the truck, and
Okay.
then everybody started calling me Bubba too. So
Mm.
I'm kind of like Bubba number two, like or mini Bubba, but my dad's a lot smaller than me. So
Baba the
so it just kind of stuck, right? And
Okay.
so there's like I've had people phone me up to go do work, and I show up there and they go, "Oh, you're not what I expected. We thought you're some big black guy or something like that or whatever." There's all these,
Mm.
or we thought had the southern accent or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And
Yeah.
so no, that's just kind of how it happened.
Okay,
But
that's always
you
that's
can call me Robbie or Rob or whatever, but the only thing I care is somebody calls me something that doesn't start with an A and end with an E, so that's all good.
Okay, let's see Carrie from the My Metamorphosis. Say good morning or whatever time of the day it is where
Good
you are.
morning.
Welcome, Carrie. Um, right. So first questions first.
Hmm.
I want to know who was Bubba before the carnivore diet.
I was the same person as I am now. Uh,
Okay.
how it's just I've been studying things like philosophy and whatnot for a long time.
Mm,
The reason being is that from what I used to do for a living in my growing up, I wouldn't say I had the most normal life.
mm-hmm.
So to deal with things and learn how to deal with things, I had to learn to control my thought process.
Okay.
I've always been I believe, a kind person, but I don't have a problem, and it's kind of caused me some problems, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't have a problem with telling people if they're stepping out of line or if they're not respectful.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to learn that a lot of times you're just better off to walk away. So that's kind of the way I am because I believe we need to be honest and truthful and not pass judgment. And that's probably I think is my greatest strength is, and I really brought that up with my two kids is, you know, on this earth, if you say you're going to do something, you better do it.
Yeah.
If you can't do something, you better have the kahunas to say no, because you don't
Mm,
want to be that person looking over your shoulder your whole life.
mm-hmm.
And it just cuts a lot of BS out. And
Yeah.
it's just not a good way to go,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like the other night when we were on JT's thing and he was kind of upset and he phoned me before, we
Mm,
went on live. And the biggest thing I had to say to him, and I say to anybody, is once something's done, you gotta let it go, especially if nothing happened, because
mm,
our obsession over what happens or telling our story too many times takes us away from whatever positive direction we're going.
yeah, correct. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's then start. How did you discover the carnivore diet, and basically what inspired you to try it?
Well, I was heavily involved in bodybuilding and powerlifting when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got to train with some pretty high level people here locally. Plus, I
Mm,
also did some online training with a Scott Mendelson out of LA, who is the world's strongest bencher. This is going back about 8 years ago, me and my son. I got to know him quite well. My old training partner, Dave, almost made it to the Mr. Olympia. He competed against guys like Mike Christian, a friend of mine, Kevin,
mm,
came 11th in the North Americans in the mid 90s and held three world junior powerlifting records. And Ralphie was the North American super heavyweight powerlifting champ and all these things. And Peter, he competed in Mr. Universe 5 times. So I had a lot of knowledge around me. And I also knew
mm-hmm.
a fellow by name of Peter Rabor, who's one of the top child obesity experts that was in charge of the sports excellent thing here at Camosun College.
Mm,
So I've had a lot of people around me because I actually do know what I'm talking about. I don't look it right now, but I've got a lot of practical knowledge. And because no matter what part I've gone through my life, I've always stayed um, intact with that. So I'm continually watching things like Mark Bell Super Training Gym. And
mm,
that's where I first saw Dr. Sean Baker. And I
mm-hmm.
started listening to what they were talking about. It's really nothing new at all. It's really old school bodybuilding from the 50s and 60s and 70s, which makes a lot of sense. So when I thought about it, and I'd done
Mm-hmm.
the keto thing, and I've read The Grain Brain by Dr. David Perlmutter and Atkins and all that stuff. So I knew the science behind it. And so when I watched Dr. Baker on there, and then I saw him on London Rio, it kind of got me thinking about, well, I'm having these issues and I've gotten way out of focus and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
where I used to be. And I just, the arthritis got bad. And I was looking at two knee and double hip replacements. I was getting Synvisc injections. And
Mm,
I remember seeing this. I forget the doctor's name, the orthopedic guy and at Rebalance, and he was telling me I had to do this and that, and I basically said, "F you, I'm not doing it." and and then so this is kind of my third kick at the carnivore thing.
mm,
I've It's not the first time I've done it, but I will say one thing though, and this is for people to know:
yeah.
when you do it and you go off, don't let anybody tell you that you're cured of whatever's happened because it'll come back in a vengeance. So, it's actually I've been my symptoms have actually lasted longer this time than it did the first initial time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and before I started it this time, I went and had a chat with my family physician who retired about his thoughts on it. He was very well versed in the training nutrition. His wife is actually a scientist. So
Mm.
we had a real deep discussion about my osteo and my rheumatoid arthritis and what was actually going to happen with the diet. So I was very well versed before I started it.
Mm.
Um, so I'm a little bit more of a skeptic than most people. I believe a lot of people are they're kind of taking this on faith,
Mm.
and I don't really believe that's the right thing to do. You really need to look for things, document things, which I don't do enough of, and really look into your own health because
Mm.
you could just do it, right? And not
Mm.
even think about it, and you'll probably be fine. But for me, it's like I want to know why it's working and why it's not working and things like that. It's just the way my mind works. So it's
Mm.
not about a journey in faith for me. It's actually like, okay, what do I got to do here to be successful and to be dedicated and know
Mm.
how to deal with things when they come up so that I don't have slips, right?
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
no matter who we are on this journey, we're all coming from a place. And to be very blunt, if we had our shit together, we wouldn't be here, right?
Exactly.
So
Yes. Mm.
we got to work on everything to move forward and to succeed and to become better in all aspects of your life.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah. So I might be at fault. Yeah. I jumped in.
That's okay.
I jumped in. I'm like reactive when anything happens. Let's go find out
Hmm.
how to fix it. So
Yeah.
basically, I'm like that. Not medically inclined. Um, so yeah, that's how my journey goes on. But let's continue.
Hmm.
So, any issues when you started? You said you had three. So, was there any issues in the beginning? Like you hear people talk about a keto flu and diarrhea. Any funny stuff happened?
No, I've, if anything, I've probably been a little bit more constipated than anything like that. The
Mm-hmm.
diarrhea a couple times. Um, yeah, I mean, your body's adjusting, right? So
Mm.
you're gonna have withdrawals. So that's what the keto flu is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing really too bad. The one thing that, and I'm gonna misspell a myth here because I believe when people talk about this subject, um, it's the whole gout issue because I am still having some extreme problems with it.
Mm.
Uh, I just had a bunch of blood work done and when it's getting that heart test done, and
Mm.
my uric acid is extremely high.
Mm.
Now, whether or not that's in relation to things like stress levels and things like that, which it may have, but it's still there. So, um, I know some people get on here and they talk about how it's cured their gout. It
Mm.
hasn't for me, not at all. Um, I will say my arthritis in my back is quite a bit better, but the diet's part of that, right? Because
Mm.
you're having your weight loss, like your hips. Every pound you lose 6 pounds per square inch. So I'm down about 60 pounds. So that's
Wow.
360 pounds a square inch off your hip structure, right? So
Mm-hmm.
your ankle and your feet, that's 240 pounds per square inch. So it's never just one thing.
Mm.
It's everything. And people don't like me saying it, but you know, they say, well, it's cured this and it's cured that. Well, no, no, it hasn't. It's still there. Um, just because you're not symptomatic doesn't mean it's not there.
Mm.
Well, you know, a few days of going off the diet, you know, it's going to be
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah. It's
Uh,
gonna be the.
it,
Mm.
you know, and you have to understand that our body is regenerative. So
Mm.
to, if there's ever going to be any really healing or repairing, and I'm not a doctor, this is just me from using common sense, it's going to take a long time,
Mm,
right? For your cartilage to grow back and your, brain cells or whatever, because you're not just stuck with the same brain cell for 70 years.
mm,
Things die off and come back, they die off, they come back. And, hopefully if you're in optimum health, you're going to last longer and have a better life, right?
mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's interesting. Touching on a
Mm,
lot of things that I need to go research.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the way my mind works. And I'm
Mm,
not putting people down, but we have to be really, really careful about the message we put out there
mm,
and what we're claiming actually happens. And I think
yeah.
if you don't put everything down in a diary, you don't really know what's going on. And I haven't done enough of it myself. Like when you're thinking about, oh, this is improved or that improved, you actually might have forgot about quite a few things that have improved.
Mm,
I mean, it could
exactly. Yeah.
go either direction, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just like I think documentation is key, and
Mm,
really consistency is the key to keep going, no matter what's going on. It's just keep plugging away and
mm,
suck it up. That's about it.
yeah. Yeah. Since you've mentioned, you're not the only person that says that it comes back. I remember there was one video, I think it's Tom from Frugal. He mentioned he
Hmm.
had diabetes, suffering from
Hmm.
diabetes, and eating a sweet thing. He's now for years on it, eating a sweet thing, then it comes back like a bomb. It just blows
Oh
into
yeah.
bits, basically. So you're not the first one. That's why I'm just thinking about that with what they said about it. So yeah.
You know what
So
I honestly, and this is going to be a very opinionative statement, okay?
okay.
And this is something I've learned about life. And I learned a lot of lessons when I worked at that maximum security institution about people
Mm,
telling their story. I had professional people telling me their story every day. And
mm.
what is the one thing people tell you, Graham? Do you know what it is?
The struggles.
It's what they want to tell you,
Okay. Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
It's
Exactly. Yeah.
what they want to tell you. So I don't care. I know people aren't going to like this. And I don't care if it's a veggie channel or a carnivore channel or a philosophy channel. They are giving you what they want to give you. And the sad thing about YouTube, it's geared towards clicks and viewing
Mm,
time, right?
exactly. Yeah.
So if I believe we've all started because we want to help people, right?
Mm,
But you have to be businesslike to get the word out. But if you really treat it as a business and your ego gets in the way, that information is going to be tainted,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
So I made a philosophical decision at the very beginning with my son. No matter what my financial state was, we would not be putting any links for people to donate money.
Mm, I agree.
Everything we do comes out of the pocket.
Mm,
Everything I say is not about a grift, and I'm not here for people to feel sorry for me, right?
mm,
It's just this
correct.
is the way it is. And if they don't like it, they don't have to watch it,
Exactly.
right?
My
Yeah.
sentiments was to JT. It's not about the subscribers. It's about just getting the
Hmm.
message out. That's my sentiment to
Hmm.
JT. So yeah, interesting. So
Oh yeah.
Bubba, tell
Hmm.
me about. I hear you talk a lot about stoicism and all that. Give me a
Hmm.
listen. Give me a listen into a quick um of what stoicism is, and maybe for our viewers as well, because maybe they will know a little bit more of who Baba is.
Well, well, the one thing about Stoicism is actually predates Christ, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a ancient Roman and Greek philosophy that a lot of the things borrow well from philosophies even before that, or even Buddhism or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or Hinduism, like whatever, right? All these different philosophies are trying to say the same thing, but coming from a different place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what it is back in the day, they didn't have big pharma, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had people who suffered from PTSD, they had people that suffered from depression, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they had to come up with a way to learn how to deal with things, and that is through controlling your thoughts. Stoicism is actually the basis for cognitive behavioral therapy that started in the 1950s.
Mm.
So it's really about controlling your mind,
Yeah.
right? It's because we all go into a dark place.
Mm.
And what I've learned, and it's not just from studying Stoicism, it's from counseling or whatever I've done or having discussions with people and a lot of reading. There's some awfully good channels on YouTube about it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's really about being present each day, being thankful for each day, not passing judgment, right?
Mm.
Not letting other people's thoughts control yours, their ego to
Mm.
control yours.
Yeah.
Learning to recognize the relationship of others and what it really means. Because a lot of people, whether their intentions are good or not, like say in your journey, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but your circle of friends change, right?
Yes.
There's a
Mm.
train theory. People hop on and hop off throughout your life,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
You can't be offended by it. You
Mm-mm.
can't be offended what people say about you on your YouTube channel. It's
Exactly.
only words, right?
Yeah. It's only
10
word.
10% of what actually happens in life can only affect you. The other 90% is where our mind goes with it. The
Mm.
one thing I've noticed, and I'm not trying to, and this isn't my ego talking here, but you've seen some of my videos, and I'm pretty blunt.
Mm.
I'll drop the few F bombs if I get really upset about something. And the one thing that probably upsets me the most is when I see people that are upset because people are being negative to them in the comments and they're taking it personal, right?
Mm.
It's only words. We
Mm.
have to expect that is going to take place. But what I've noticed, because of the way I am, I think I've only had two shitty comments. I mean, that's it, because it
Yeah.
doesn't go anywhere. Because you're putting it
Yeah.
out there. It's like, you know what? Screw you. I mean, I know it's funny when we're on JT's on the live chat there, and I
Yeah.
remember his wife asked me what's the crazy thing you saw when you're working at at the
Yeah.
institution, right? And the funny thing is, I said, "You really want to know?" And I told you that guy's that story. Um, I, not to poke fun at anybody, but you should have. Everybody's faces are like this, right? It's not really funny. And
Yeah.
I didn't even get into the worst part about that story, right?
Yeah.
And that was just one thing. So I guess because
Mm.
what I've done in my life and what I've lived through, and I've had to learn how to control that, right?
Mm.
A lot of these things that come up, like I don't know, it's just like water off a duck's back. And I'd
Yeah.
really like to see people get like that and And when we take things too personal, you know what? There's always somebody out there who's been through something rougher,
Mm. Yeah,
and we gotta let it go. If you don't let it go, it's just gonna spin and spin and spin.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think I got that same sentiment of just starting this channel, and I normally used to tell a friend who started the TikTok channel,
Hmm.
and I said, and she was like upset about what people is saying. And my thing is, if you put yourself out there, you got to take the rap that's coming towards you, whether it's good or bad. You gotta take it,
Hmm.
and you got to just move on from it. And I agree with what you said, that when I get anything bad, like I said on the JT chat, it was like it affected me. However,
Hmm.
the retort was, no, no, no. Why did I delete it? I was more upset with myself deleting it. I had to keep it on. Whatever was said, I
Hmm.
had just to keep it on because it shouldn't affect me. And that's when I learned
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
this is what I said back in the day to somebody. I need to be strong as well, and just leave it's not
Yeah.
gonna affect me. So
When
yeah.
somebody's ne- when somebody's negative like that, it really is an opportunity or a challenge for you to be kind and write something and take their venom
Mm,
away, right?
yeah.
I put a short out or something, and there was some jerk from East Coast of the States. He he, wa- he was quite rude, and I showed my son this. I said, that really kind of pissed me off, and
Mm.
the dumbass, pardon my expression.
It's okay.
I first thing I did is I Facebooked his name, found him right away, right? I knew exactly where he lived and all this stuff, right? And I don't have the number anymore on my phone, but I used to have a number on my phone from somebody who's acquaintance of mine in the motorcycle community that, you know, there's a network out there and people better watch out, you know. They start doing this shit, they think they're protected,
Mm,
somebody can find you too, right?
yeah.
That's what they don't think about. And I just find it, I don't know. I mean, I won't even it's not that I'd even go there,
Mm,
but people got to realize that whoever's doing that, right? And I think I forget whose channel I was on, or I put it in a video. I said it kind of reminded me of the weirdo, like
mm.
with a box of Kleenex on his tabletop, looking at the girl in the computer game, right? It's just like they're getting some sort of weird enjoyment over
Yeah.
shitting on people, and it's not about
Mm,
you. It's just really about them,
yeah.
you know,
That's so sad. But yeah.
right?
Yeah, right. I'm just checking quickly. Anything? Let's see. So, Baba, you spoke recently about your doctor's appointment.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if our fellows in the chat saw that. Can you just go through with us saying about your blood work and the confusion round
Well,
about it?
basically what happened, and I'm gonna make another video about it, but I'll give you the quick rundown.
Yeah. Okay.
Back in the day when I was powerlifting, I had an incident, a stressful incident, and they thought I had a heart attack. So I found out that I had an enlarged aortic root.
Okay.
So I had to go for my license for my class one, and part of it was I thought it was an EKG, but it was actually an ECG that they did
Mm,
on my heart, part of the blood work. So when I went in there, the technicians aren't supposed to talk to you.
mm,
So she found an issue and she was panicking and changing the wires and stuff, right? And she says,
Mhm.
"Oh, I believe you got a blockage in your heart and there's all these problems." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I kind of panicked, right? And I drove home and I started thinking, fuck, if why would they let me go home if I've got this problem,
Yeah.
right? They shouldn't have let me go home. So then, because I'm friends with Nurse Kim, I phoned her up and I said, "Hey, I got this problem. What do you think?" And she said, "No, I don't think it's that. She shouldn't be saying that." So then I'm having my physical end of it, like I go see this doctor about my blood work. So my blood work actually was really good. My
Mm.
sugar levels were good. There was no pre-diabetes. There was nothing like that. My cholesterol level was just above normal.
Mm.
So which was, and the doc said, well, your cholesterol level is better than mine. We don't need anything to do with it. My
Okay.
blood pressure was good. My heart rate was good. The only issue was my uric acid level.
Mm.
It was extremely high. So then I had a gout attack. So then, because I don't have a family physician, I made an appointment on this thing called TELUS Health. So they
Okay.
had my test results too. So this doctor, this is what really got me going the other day,
Mm.
basically said I shouldn't be doing any physical activity. There's a strong possibility I got a blockage in my heart, and there's a recommendation for you to go see the cardiologist and all this stuff, and basically wanted me to stop everything. So I was pretty depressed. And that's kind of why I put that video out, because I want people to be sure of what's going on. When I watch videos of people say, I don't flip and care what the doctor says, that is a pile of crap, right?
Mm.
So I was kind of upset and I was talking to Kim again. We were texting.
Mm.
And then I got another appointment. So a third third doctor. This is a couple days ago.
Mm.
And it was like, like a Zoom thing with TELUS Health. And this lady really had her shit together. Like she was really sweet, very kind. In her notes, she wrote me a thing that was like 6 pages long. I fully understood everything.
Okay.
Um, and the stuff that the doctor before talked about, a lot of that stuff he never even put in the notes, what he said. And it was kind of upsetting. So basically, she says, you could have a blockage.
Mm.
She says, but you've been training, you've been doing this, you're doing that. You haven't been showing any symptoms. The other markers are down. Your blood pressure is down. Um, the doctor where I did my physical for my driver's license put in a thing for me to see the cardiologist on an emergency basis just to make sure. But
Mm.
she believe it stems that there's been an irregular heartbeat ever since I had that thing years ago. So
Mm.
she says it's just something that I've been living with, and that the doctor overreacted, and he shouldn't have
Mm.
behaved like he did. She says, we can't see inside you.
Yeah.
She says, how can we tell if you have a blockage or not? So I was kind of living for a week there that I was pretty upset.
Mm.
And I'm sure I'll be fine. I mean, I'll find out in somewhere between 1 month to 4 months is how the medical system is here, right? But if I have any issues, I'll just hit 911 and go in. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna start back training again as soon as my ankle's better and keep going.
Yeah.
Right? She told me it was extremely important. She said the worst advice that I got was for that doctor to stop for me to stop exercising.
Yeah.
She says because any exercise there is a regenerative issue for your health, your heart health, right?
Mm.
So there's somebody who has given me information who didn't have, you know, really the full data, or he wasn't really looking at it properly.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, and he was making a decision that was informed by uh, not wanting any responsibility, right?
Mm.
We got to be careful
Yeah.
of those things.
Yeah. And
So,
obviously,
so
continue.
two out of the three doctors said, "Don't worry about it."
So that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I was a bit worried there when you spoke in your video, and I'm like, whoa,
Hmm.
whoa, whoa, what's happening? But yeah, yeah, it's good
Well,
to hear.
I mean, there could be a problem there, right? I don't know. I'm
Mm,
gonna err on the side of caution in a sense, but I also believe it was important to put out there for people to really think about it,
mm,
right? There's a lot of distrust in the medical community. I find within the carnivore system and what people talk about, and I really believe myself. One, we're not doctors. We shouldn't talk like that. And you really need to make an informed decision and keep an open mind, right?
mm.
So to totally negate the medical you know
Community. Yeah.
system
Mm.
is just really a bad thing to do.
And they're also there for a certain reason. So I
Hmm.
would agree. Mm. Right. Baba, what kind of hobbies do you like or do?
Well, I
I'm
noodle on
jumping
the
off.
guitar, ride my Harley. Sometimes I write poetry, the
Hmm.
stoicism thing. Uh, I just try and put the good out, I guess. And I will say one thing though, ever since the big C started, like the thing we're not supposed to talk about, and now I'm on this journey, I've actually become quite a bit, I wouldn't say a recluse, but
Mm.
I don't seem to want to have as many people around me. So, I'm more apt to go sit at Starbucks and have a water or a coffee or something and read something or listen to music and go about my day, right?
And I would say the peaceful side of things,
Yeah,
where you just want to be
yeah,
peace. And I normally go into that frenzy that I don't want anybody around me as well.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I
yeah,
was
just to
quite more sociable before, but I think that comes down to too is when things are working right, what have you really got to talk about if you're at peace with
exactly.
yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Either that or you're turning into a preacher or something, right? And then nobody's going to want to listen to you. Oh God, there's that guy telling us talking about himself again. Screw that, right? It's just
Exactly,
like, no.
exact. Yeah, so that was just a bit off the topic. I just want to check any
Hmm.
questions. Nothing. Um, Let me just see another question. The future for you and carnivore diet. Is there any future that you might be thinking that I'm gonna eat carnivore all my life or switch to veggies or something? Is there something like
Mm,
that?
well, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Mm,
But I don't, I do miss some vegetables, but wherever I end up, it's definitely going to be minus things like rice and potatoes for the most part. I don't think there's a big deal if you have things once in a while. I mean, people get quite strict over it, but I think if you can strict keep it strict and do the elimination thing and be mindful of what's causing you issues and eliminate them, then I don't see where the harm is. I mean,
Yeah.
oh, is a piece of broccoli going to kill you? I don't think so, right? You know?
Me neither. Me neither. I'm laughing because my daughter, when she started, she said, no, she can't have this much meat. And then I said, look at keto. First thing she buys a piece of broccoli. That's why I'm laughing. And she
Hmm.
just mixed it up. And now it's
Yeah.
broccoli, cheese, cauliflower. It's that those things that she mixed it up with. So which is interesting.
Well, I had a lot of success earlier in my life doing keto and the paleo diets. It's really not that much difference. What
Mm,
I found this time, though, if I have any high glycemic carbs like rice or potatoes, the water comes on pretty quick.
okay.
And if I have any nightshades like Frank's Red Hot, then
Mm,
I got a real problem in my joints. So
mm,
that's stuff I need to kind of stay away from,
mm. That's interesting. Any
you
advice?
know?
If yeah, any advice for those that starting out? What would you tell them if they want to now do carnivore or yeah, do carnivore diet? What would you tell them before they even start? What advice would you give them?
I would do your research. I would make sure this is something that you're going to be committed to. And when I started my YouTube channel, I've had people been there since the beginning, writing me on and off. And the biggest, saddest thing I should say that I've been told by people is how they're ridiculed by friends and family.
Mm,
So I would almost have a tendency, if you've got some issues where um how you say that you're not really mentally that strong and you decide to do it, keep your mouth shut. Just keep your mouth shut. Don't say nothing.
mm.
Nobody needs to know, right?
Yeah,
Like, when you drop your first 20 or 30 pounds, right? If that's what happens, or you're feeling better, your depression's better, whatever it is,
mm,
they'll come to you and ask. Then
yeah,
you can make the decision if you want to tell them, right?
mm,
You know, I mean, don't be going out there starting a YouTube channel if you don't want
yeah,
people to know, because you're out
yeah,
there, right?
mm,
It's there. It's there for eternity unless you take that YouTube channel down,
mm.
right? It's
Yeah,
just, you know, it comes to the whole stoicism thing, right? Just keep your mouth shut, walk
keep your
away,
mouth shut. Yeah, I think I
take
did
care of
that for the
yourself.
first. I did that for the first 3 months
Hmm.
before I started the channel.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
just keep my
You
mouth
got to
shut.
be you got to be good to yourself first.
Mm,
You can't help anybody else if you're not good to yourself.
mm,
Like I like supporting people. I don't think I've ever missed one comment to not writing them back of
mm,
everybody who's written me. And I tend to get upset when I hear people that are upset because they're getting picked on. I don't like that. Like,
mm.
when you're going back to the negative comments, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Where they're not being supported by your family. I'm on my own now. One of the biggest reasons I'm on my own is because every time I tried to improve myself, my ex would sabotage me, right? So
Mm,
if you're in a relationship, right? Right? And there's people out there, right? They've got YouTube channels. Your spouse or your significant other doesn't have to do the diet, and you can't tell them
Yeah.
to do the diet.
Yeah.
But
Correct.
if they're selfish enough to force you to go through a drive-through at Starbucks or KFC or anything like that and eat that shit in front of you when you've got an addiction problem because they've got the same problem, you really got to think about how much they really care about you over their own addiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is your support group, especially at the beginning, is very important,
Yeah.
right? And, it doesn't matter, like my dad, bless his heart, right? He doesn't think
Mm.
about, he'll have a bowl of ice cream. You go, do you want some? Because I can't eat it. Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot, right? Like that to me isn't offensive. But when somebody, you know, goes out of their way, like they should be asking you, like, are you okay with this? Like, is
Mm.
this a trigger for you? Right?
Yeah.
You got to think about it because it's about them. They may feel insecure. Like my ex told me, like, um, I did this thing for, I think it was the keto thing. I had some sugar levels issues. This is going back probably 10 years ago, and my doctor read
Mm.
me the riot act, and so I had straightened everything out in 3 months, and he cried when I went in the office. He couldn't believe it. And then I go home the next 3 nights. What do you think was cooked for me? Rice, potatoes, and pasta. And I was pretty upset. And I said, why did you do that to me? She says, because I like it when you're fat. I don't have to worry. That
Wow.
was said to me, right?
Wow.
And and that was a big fu to me over her own insecurities, right?
Mm.
That happened, right? So
Happen.
at least she was honest about it.
Yeah.
But when people are doing that to you, that's what they're saying, right? They're saying F
Yeah.
you. That's
Mm.
it, right?
Exactly.
Simple.
Yeah. Yeah. You remind me of my first 3 months, but not in that sense. It's like I don't know. Maybe it was just something that just happened. Um, since I started with the carnivore diet, the first thing that that told me I must move away was a packet of chips because we love this potato chips.
Hmm.
Like Simba. I don't know if you guys get Simba or so forth, but that type of chips. I love my chutney flavored chips,
Hmm.
and used to buy 10 packets of that. And that thing was laying in front of me, and I thought, who put this? And I was alone in the house. Who put this in front of me? And I was sitting in the living room, and I just walked away. That was my first test. Later
Hmm.
on, if you talk about favorite dishes, I had a few
Hmm.
favorite dishes, and my wife prepared favorite dishes for them because she knows I'm like on my own doing my own thing. And it's like,
Hmm.
why are you doing this to me? But she was not thinking like I'm like gonna crave for it. She wasn't thinking in that sense, but yes, it was my favorites. You get your
Yeah,
favorite dishes.
and
Yeah.
and it's not saying that the fu part is actually intentional
Mhm.
sometimes either, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't know, and you
Mm.
got to be strong. I mean, my
Yeah.
son was teasing me, and after he got back from Japan, and he'd be eating. He says, "I'm eating these chips in front of you to make you strong, right?" And I said, "Well, I'm not buying you any more chips." you know, so he knows
Yeah.
to take
Yeah.
him in his room.
Yeah, because like you said, the strong part, yes, they said even at work they say I'm strong. At work it's like
Mhm,
they want to give you a burger, but I say I'm not gonna have it because there's soya mince in. Sorry. And they say
mhm.
no. And now the other day it happened again. But yes the remark. Ah, you don't eat that stuff. So it's okay. I can have it. That's like they can have it.
There's
But
some
yeah.
friends of mine. We'd go to this pub on a Friday, and I'd get invited, right, and done some business together. And the one guy is pretty close to him, but he's like dependent diabetic now, right?
Mm,
So I go there and I order specifically a la carte, and he's having the burgers and the fries and all this stuff. And he asked me what I was doing, and I told him, but he was fine with eating what he was eating and
mm,
pulling the needle out after you've had our meal and sticking it in him, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
his thing.
yeah.
You say, "Oh, you could have a burger with the salad or something." Well, actually, if you had it once in a while, it's probably no big deal. But
Mm,
it's whether you make the choice to have it or not, right?
yeah, that's the thing. And that's where I'm at. I'm at that point where I say I'm too scared because I'm too
Mm-hmm.
scared it might just spike something along the line in my system that I'm not aware of. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm saying no, I'm not gonna have. It's not about how I'm just gonna start a craving. It's just that I'm too scared that I don't know what it's gonna do. When I'm ready,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll take and then I will see what it can do. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I'm at with that. Now, one more, one more, one more, one
Sure.
more, one more. Give us a story, Baba. I enjoy your stories.
Mm-hmm.
One of your funny stories. I enjoy it.
A
Because
funny story?
yeah, I know. I don't know if our viewers know that you are a funny man as well with funny stories.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you better believe it. Well, the
Yeah.
first thing
So
I taught my kids growing up was for them to pull my finger, right? So I mean, that was I like to joke around because
mm,
we can't take life too seriously.
exactly this.
Uh okay, I don't know, it's a biker story. It's actually not funny, but
Okay.
it'll give a description of how I am. But a friend of mine who
Mm,
passed away was a member of a motorcycle, three-piece patch motorcycle club. And I was asked to go on this run. It was their anniversary run type of deal, right? So I said I would, but I was just getting over pneumonia, and I was really
mm,
sick for about 3 months. But I gave him my word.
mm,
So I went on this run, and there's like, I don't know, 150 or 160 bikes in this pack, and they had street crimes from all over the province there. We were
mm,
followed by two helicopters and all this stuff, and there was different clubs and whatnot. And I ended up eighth from the front. I don't know how I did it by accident. I wasn't feeling very good, and my wind was bad, and I had a hard time breathing. And we were
mm.
like riding like hell. Like it was brutal, side by side in a huge tight group. I don't know how somebody didn't die, right? So
Okay.
we were in a place called Shawnigan Lake at the Black Swan pub, and everybody kind of split off to go back to the clubhouse in Ladysmith. And I think the pack I was in, there was over 90 bikes, and we were
Wow.
doing probably 130, 150 kilometers an hour in 80 to 90 kilometer hour zones. And we weren't
Mm,
even bothered. They just let us go. And we get back to the clubhouse, and me and my friends were sitting at this uh, uh, picnic table, and the Hells Angels showed up,
mm,
and they made a beeline right to my table because it was kind of half empty. And the people I went with, they took off, right? They got intimidated. And the biker thing is, you should get up and introduce yourself and shake the hand and be respectful, right? I was having such a hard time breathing. I couldn't even get off the seat. So they come walking right to me, right? And the
mm,
one guy puts his hands out and he introduced himself. He says, "Hi, my name is Rick and I'm Rob." And we shake hands. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't get up right now. I'm just getting over pneumonia. I don't want to be disrespectful. So he goes, oh, okay. So he says, well, and he was a big guy, right?
Mm.
And he said to me, he says, do you think this table will hold us both up? Do you mind if I sit with you? Sorry. I said, I sure fucking hope so because I don't want to be the one responsible for you hitting the ground, right? So, anyways, we laughed and we talked for
Mm.
about a half an hour.
Mm.
Any time I've ever been out, been at a poker run or anything like that, or and I run into those guys, and I had some friends that were in that community, right? They were always very respectful to me. And he told me, he says, I wouldn't have done what you did.
Mm.
So every time I've run into him since then, he's remembered me and he's always gone out of his way to put his hand out of respect for what
Yeah,
I did.
that's awesome.
And that's kind of what we need to do in life,
Mm.
right? And be respectful and things like that. And I know there's lots in the news about those guys and stuff like that and different bike clubs and all the things that go
Mm.
wrong. But, in my life, some of my darkest times, the ones that have given me the most support have been from that,
Mm.
right? Because they've been through it.
Yeah.
You know, these people that are passing judgment. And, and I felt so bad for JT the other day when we were on the phone. He's telling me about people telling him that he was going to burn in hell and stuff because he was talking about Bob Proctor and, putting positivity out.
Mm.
Those people are sick.
Yeah, they're
I
sick.
mean, there's something wrong there. It's really
Mm.
wrong. It's just it's not what Christianity is supposed to be about at all,
Mm. Mm.
right? It's
Mm. Mm.
what that is when people behave like that. The first thing is it's ignorant. So there's a lack
Yeah.
of education, right?
Yeah.
And that is just really wrong. It's just wrong.
Mm.
It's not what humanity is supposed to be about at all.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, but as we would call it, I'm gonna use the slang, the jalas. I don't know if you got that.
Mhm.
The jalas.
No, they're jealous.
Yeah, but
Well,
we like having it the slang jalas.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah, it's just plain. I would say stupidity from other people. Just to they don't even know a person and they give us such
Oh
comments.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Or
just
or the or I'll get the odd comment after dropping a bad word and they'll say, "Oh, you're better than that." And I'm like thinking,
uh
"You don't even know me." And
yeah,
what
you
does
don't
better
know.
than that mean, right?
Yeah,
They
mm, they don't
they
know who
don't know.
Bubba. They don't know who I am. So yeah.
No, no. I've got lots of stories and I'll get more into them as my channel's going on and stuff, right?
Mm,
And I think it's important for, if people kind of want to know who I am, you have to know where I've come from,
yes,
right?
exactly. They need to walk the. What is that saying about the shoes?
Walk the walk. Yeah.
Walk a mile in somebody's shoes, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to do
If
that.
you're not if you're not willing to do that, you keep your mouth shut.
Exactly. Baba, it was
Yeah.
nice chatting
Oh,
with you.
awesome. Yeah. Hope you get lots of views, Graham.
Like I said, it's not about the views. It's all about my
That's-
friends.
yeah,
it's
there we go.
it's all about my friends and knowing them better.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
want to
for
say
sure.
thank you, Baba, for accepting the invite. I know it's maybe too late. I think I should have done that earlier on, but yeah, thank you, Baba, for accepting the
No
invite.
worries.
And thank you,
Uh,
Baba, for making the sacrifice. Time is so important in our lives. And thank you for making the sacrifice of being up early and coming
Well,
to say
thank you for
hi.
having me here, and I hope people just get something from it and really think about how they treat other people and what they say,
Mm, yeah,
right?
exactly. To see what Becky is saying. Praise, 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 praise. What's hot?
Yeah, she's very sweet.
Yeah, she's sweet.
She's made
Yeah.
some really sweet comments on my stuff, and I really
Mm.
appreciate it.
Think Connor was then?
Oh, he lives
Connor.
not too far from me.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yes. Yeah. And Diane from Bypass Connor was also, and that is Becky's reply. Oh,
Yeah, she's a very sweet lady. At some point, I'm gonna put out applications for like Bubba Rob. What did I say? Groupies, wasn't it? Isn't that
groupies?
what I said? Isn't that what I said on JT's show that
Yes,
I, yeah, look
groupies.
and looking for groupies, yeah. But
Before we say goodbye, Baba,
yeah,
calendar. Are we still doing the calendar?
yeah, because I said I'll be hanging that mistletoe from all the wrong places, right?
Yeah, December. Baba is December. I'm April.
All
Just
right.
the end of.
Uh, okay, Graham. Uh, okay.
Right.
I'm
There,
your number one fan. Thank you. There we go.
there we
There we
go.
go. That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, Baba, final.
Okay. Yeah.
As you end off every video, can you do it here for us, please?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Most important thing is to be a good carnivore, good stoic, good blues person, just a good person, good rainbow warrior, whatever it is, or good biker, to be kind. Be
That's it.
honest. Have have some integrity and don't take any shit from anybody either.
What's up, Baba? Okay,
Okay.
that's it for this stream.
Okay.
Thank you very much for
Okay.
joining.
Yeah.
And we saying goodbye from my outside. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.